Hello, how are you doing? Let's talk about protein today. Yes, probably the first topic, which come up when somebody finds out that you are vegan or you are eating plant-based. So what I noticed on my 12 years old journey, on my 12 years journey of being vegan, is that there are really two camps of people. First camp is the camp of people who are overly concerned with protein. Okay, they track their protein, they make sure they have exact numbers even written down. Okay, they just like protein is almost the only nutrient they care about in their diet. And then there is the second camp, okay, myself inclusive, who never really so much like gives protein any attention, right? Because after all, protein is in all plant foods, right? Also, we know that as long as you eat enough calories, obviously, like you don't starve yourself, and if your food is coming from the unprocessed plants, right, then you are good. You are good to go, and it's literally impossible to be deficient, right? And so that's why then you don't really pay any attention to protein. And so, as I said, it used to be me until I learned what I'm going to share with you. And so the first point is that having enough and thriving are two very different things. So let me explain. As I mentioned, really eating enough calories and eating unprocessed plants does guarantee that you get enough protein, right? Because also, let's say you exercise, your hunger increases, then you eat more, therefore you get more nutrients overall, including protein. However, thriving and buzzing and having loads of energy and like feeling like on top of the world, that just shows differently in your body, and everybody is different. And so in my own body, like running a little bit low on protein with my diet shows up that I am not completely satiated. I'm not completely satiated. I tend to have cravings. I tend to constantly keep looking for things, what to eat, and that's how it shows up for me. Until I reach certain amount of protein in my diet, and then I realize I actually don't need to eat such huge quantities of foods, and I'm just much more satisfied. Okay. Now in your body, it may show up as brittle nails and hair, right? Or maybe your wounds may be healing not that well, or maybe you are falling in sick more frequently. Okay, all these things protein is involved in, and so of course, if you are running a little bit low, below your optimal level, then that's how it can show up in your body. So that's one thing. Second thing I learned was that not all protein need to come from beans. Of course, I know. Again, as somebody who is very much into unprocessed way of eating, this is one of those things when I, was okay. Let's top up on unprocessed, right, rich sources. So that would be beans, like beans, lentils, peas. Then when that happens, honestly, your gut can start feeling overwhelmed, because honestly, I don't know how many people who eat 1 cup to 2 cups of beans every day. Probably not that many. And so really bringing in high quality protein powders is absolute game changer. Now, if you can make those protein powders organic, made from real ingredients like 3-4, okay, no fillers, ideally no sweeteners. Okay, something like, let's say pea protein, mostly pumpkin protein, all these kind of powders are available today, then they are absolute game changer. And the third thing I have learned was track your protein. Again, track your nutrients, at least at the beginning, until you become really familiar with what suits your body needs. Okay, and so I use Chronometer, and I believe I spoke about it in a previous video. And again, I noticed that, for example, when I get in my diet 50 grams of protein, okay, which is absolutely optimal and fine, perfect for me, I get hungry a lot. I get packaged a lot, and I end up in the cupboard, which has all the biscuits and all those things for our boys, a lot. And so I noticed on myself personally that I actually do much better with around close to 80 grams of protein a day, providing, as I mentioned, that it is the unprocessed, it comes from smoothies, something from beans, it comes from high quality protein powders. So it's like this mix of all the foods. And so yes, so I hope that that is a little bit of food for thought for you, and that it will help you on your own journey. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below. Okay, bye, have a good day.